Marvel gets its very own Overwatch clone. The first Neuralink patient uses his implant to play games all night, and things aren't looking good for the PS5 Pro. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Jinx News. Move over! Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals is in town. It's the new team-based PvP shooter which looks very much like Overwatch 2, just with superheroes. It's third person, it's 6v6, it's free to play, and well, each hero has its own unique attacks and abilities. It's being made by NetEase, and to be honest, I don't think they're trying to hide their inspiration. The first shot of the gameplay in the trailer literally looks identical to an Overwatch map. Even the graphics give the same cartoony vibes, though I must admit it does look pretty slick, especially with the comic book twist to the art style. And it does seem like they're trying to somewhat mix things up. There's destructible environments, meaning you can fulfill that power fantasy of being able to smash things into smithereens. Don't expect the finals level of destruction here though, as it looks like it will mainly be set pieces that you can destroy as opposed to the whole map. Still, it may offer some interesting strategic choices when it comes to destroying certain bits of the level. It's not quite clear whether every single hero will have a unique interaction with another, but if so, it could create some interesting composition choices and make things particularly fun when you're buddying up with a friend. Overall though, it's all very familiar, and yet again, it's another live service game with a big superhero IP slapped on top. We all saw how that worked out for Marvel's Avengers and Suicide Squad. Plus, it's not like Overwatch 2 is in the best state right now, making this whole thing feel incredibly risky. Though arguably Overwatch 2 in theory is a great game, it's just been plagued by horrible decisions by Blizzard. And perhaps that leaves an opening for Marvel Rivals. I'm personally super relieved that they've retained the identities of the heroes despite it being a shooter. I still wince at the preview of Suicide Squad where they were like, this is Captain Boomerang, he specializes in shotguns. It's like, do you even hear yourself? The game looks to be kicking off with all the fan favorites, and with Marvel's huge array of multiverses, you can expect a whole ton of heroes to be added down the line. But how much they'll cost or how far down the battle pass they'll be, well, that's all up in the air right now. But what do you think? Do people still want team-based hero shooters? Will this be the final nail in the coffin for Overwatch? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Calling Elon Musk controversial is like calling George Clooney handsome. It's just a given. But outside of calling heroic divers pedos and not understanding racism despite growing up in apartheid South Africa, he is instructing people to work on some interesting things. Of which, one of the most exciting is Neuralink, which is attempting to turn all of us into Adam Jensen by implanting actual microchips into our brains. Now sure, the idea of being able to gain super strength or charge your phone by sticking it against your skull does sound amazing, but in reality, Neuralink is being designed with a more wholesome intent. Introducing Noland Arbor, a 29-year-old who was paralyzed from the shoulders down after a diving accident, and the first human to be implanted with the Neuralink, with the intention of being able to control a computer with his mind. After a few days of recovery, he's now actually able to control a mouse cursor just by thinking about it. It's an extraordinary thing, and so of course, what has he been doing with his newfound superpower? Playing Civilization 6, of course. During a livestream presentation on Twitter, Arbor explained how he'd spent an all-nighter playing one of his favorite games, something he'd given up on ever being able to do again. He also described how he was able to play some Mario Kart with his family as well, and you can't help but feel a warm fuzzy feeling when seeing someone who went through such an awful ordeal being given a new lease of life like this. It is just a shame that it has to be fronted by an immature billionaire with a messiah complex. In a follow-up to the livestream, Elon Musk tweeted, "Long-term, it is possible to shunt the signals from the brain motor cortex past the damaged part of the spine to enable people to walk again and use their arms normally." And I mean, it's great to have ambition, but there's an absolutely massive difference between being able to move a cursor to confront nuclear Gandhi and giving people the power to walk again. Dude's the epitome of talking a big game and not delivering. Just look at Tesla's autopilot. In 2014, he said within a year it would be capable of 90% autopilot. That was a lie. In 2017, he said you'd be able to drive from LA to New York fully autonomously. That was a lie. He said in 2019, quote, "Next year, for sure, we'd have over 1 million robo-taxis on the road." And you can see where I'm going with this. There's also the whole monkey euthanasia thing that drove the Neuralink that we don't have time to get into right now. Either way, I don't want to be a real downer on an otherwise awesome story, and by no means am I downplaying the achievements of the actual scientists and engineers who made this thing. From a gaming sense, it seems the industry has been woefully late in even thinking about accessibility for disabled gamers. Technology like this means more people can enjoy the hobby that we all love, and that's only a good thing. It's fair to say that the leaks and rumours of the Pro version of the PS5 have been met with a muted response. In many ways, it doesn't feel like the midpoint of a console generation, what with the initial supply shortages and a global pandemic meaning consoles weren't readily available for like 2 years. And this extends to developers too. Shortly after returning from the Game Developer Conference, GameIndustry.biz editor Christopher Dring said that developers weren't exactly excited. He said, "I'll be honest, I didn't meet a single person that understood the point of it. Developers didn't seem to feel like they needed it. They weren't really making the most of the PS5 in the first place." Now, that last sentence does confuse me because any developer who makes their games for more powerful PCs and then ports it to the PS5 clearly is trying to make the most of a PS5. I guess there's an argument that for most of this generation, developers have had to make their games also run on the PS4, and that's slowing things down. And those longer development cycles will only transfer that problem to the Pro. Sony have not made any official announcements on the new console model, but it's been suggested that it would be a smaller hardware upgrade than from the PlayStation 4 to the PS4 Pro. And the PS4 Pro had the benefit of launching when 4K TVs were becoming more commonplace, so the upgrade actually made sense. In fact, with the PS5 Pro, the main difference seems to be the inclusion of Sony's new upscaling technology, believed to be called PSSR. And I think this will be the main sticking point, because AI upscaling can provide some serious FPS bumps, as we've seen with Nvidia's DLSS. Whether Sony's version is good enough to justify paying for an upgrade though, well, we'll have to wait and see. Now, we'll be taking a little Easter break here at Jinx News, meaning we won't be back with a new show until Tuesday. I know it will be a painful wait, but God, is that video going to be packed with juicy news. In the meantime, you could always check out our Patreon, Jinx Plus, where you can access a whole load of docs and shows to keep you occupied in the meantime. Otherwise, a like and subscribe is more than appreciated. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you on Tuesday.